You ever just mindlessly swipe through an app and stop and think, what is actually happening behind the screen? I mean, the whole experience, it feels so simple, right? So fast. But underneath that smooth surface, there is an absolute mountain of engineering complexity. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the biggest apps on the planet to see how they built a system to handle literally billions of interactions. Okay, let's get into it.
So just to really get a sense of the challenge here, look at this number, 75 million. That's how many active users Tinder has every single month. We're talking 75 million people swiping, matching, and chatting. And then, a few years back, Tinder decided, you know what, let's throw a massive live interactive video event for all of them, all at once.
And that right there was the huge problem they had to solve for their swipe night feature. This isn't like you just streaming a movie on your TV at home. No way. This had to be live, it had to be interactive, and it had to work perfectly on millions of phones, all with different carriers and different connection speeds, all at the exact same time. So how in the world did they pull that off? Well, the answer starts with a technology called HLS, which stands for HTTP Live Streaming. And Tinder picked it because it nailed their three big goals. It had to be dynamic, so they could change content on the fly. It had to be efficient, to save memory on people's phones. And most important, it had to be seamless, with as little buffering as humanly possible. Now, the real magic behind HLS is this thing called adaptive bitrate streaming. Just think of it like this. Instead of sending you one giant video file, the server has a bunch of different versions ready to go, some in super high res, some in a lower quality. Your phone's video player is actually smart enough to check your internet connection in real time and pick the best possible version you can handle, instantly switching between them to stop that dreaded buffering wheel from ever showing up. So to make this whole thing work at a massive scale, Tinder built this really slick four-step pipeline. First, they transcode their regular MP4 videos into all those different HLS versions. Second, they run a validation on the streams to make sure everything's working just right. Third, they use a content delivery network, a CDN, to basically copy the videos onto servers all around the world so the data is physically closer to you. And finally, and this is key, they measure everything. And when I say they measure, I mean they are absolutely laser-focused on these specific KPIs. They're tracking stuff like how fast the video starts playing, how many times it has to pause to buffer, how much total time you spend just staring at a stalled screen, what percentage of streams have errors, and the average video quality. Because let's be real, on a mobile app, a 5-second buffer feels like an eternity. That could be the difference between a user loving the experience or just closing the app for good. So, okay, they figured out the massive video streaming challenge. That's amazing. But here's the twist. The visible part of the app, the stuff we actually see, like the video stream, that's often just the tip of the iceberg. The real giant, the real challenge, is hidden completely out of sight. Yeah, what about the data itself? Think about it. Every single profile, every swipe left, every swipe right, every match, every choice made during swipe night, all of that information has to be stored, managed, and then accessed instantly by tens of millions of people? How do you even begin to handle that kind of load? Well, the foundational answer to this enormous problem is a concept called database replication. At its core, it's pretty simple. Instead of trying to keep all your data in one single gigantic database, you just create multiple copies of it and spread them out across different machines. And there are three absolutely critical reasons you do this. First, to reduce latency. You can put copies of the data physically closer to your users, so it literally gets to their phones faster. Second, to increase availability. If one of your database servers crashes, another one can just take over, instantly. No big deal. And third, to increase your read throughput. With more copies, you can handle way more people asking for data at the same time. Okay, so now you've got all these copies of your data. The really hard part is keeping them all in sync. And there are basically three main strategies for this. You've got single leader, where one database is the boss. You've got multi-leader, where a few databases can be the boss. And then there's leaderless, where pretty much any copy can accept changes. Now, the most popular approach, by far, the one used in tons of databases you've probably heard of, like PostgreSQL and MongoDB, is single leader replication. So understanding how this one works is really key to understanding how most big apps function. It's simple in theory, but it comes with some really fascinating trade-offs. So here's how it works. Step 1. Any new data, say you get a new match, is sent only to the leader database. Step 2. The leader writes that new info down. Step 3. The leader then immediately sends that change out to all of its followers. And finally, step 4. When you just need to read data, like when you're just looking at a profile, you can ask any of the copies for it, the leader or any of the followers. But right here is a super critical choice. When the leader tells the followers about a change, should it wait for them to reply and say, "Yep, got it"? If it does wait, that's called a synchronous write. It's safer for sure, but it's also slower. If it doesn't wait, that's asynchronous. It's way, way faster, but it creates this tiny delay where the followers are just a little bit out of date. This tiny delay has a name. It's called replication lag, and it leads to a state known as eventual consistency. It's a fancy way of saying, yeah, eventually all the followers will catch up and have the right data. But in that brief moment of lag, some really weird things can happen from a user's point of view. To see what I mean, just imagine this with me. You're on some app, and you just wrote the most brilliant update to your profile. You hit save. That write request goes straight to the leader database. The leader confirms it almost instantly. So you're feeling pretty good about yourself, and you immediately hit refresh to go admire your own handiwork. And your update isn't there. It's just vanished. What happened? Well, your refresh request got sent to one of the follower databases, one that hadn't gotten the news about your update yet from the leader. So to you, it literally looks like the app just ate your data. This is a classic, super frustrating problem caused by replication lag. So the solution is a guarantee, and it's called read your own writes consistency. It's actually a really clever trick. The system is smart enough to recognize that you just made a change. So for the next minute or so, any read requests coming from your device are sent directly to the leader, the one place that's guaranteed to have your latest update. And just like that, problem solved. And read your own writes is just one of several guarantees that engineers build to hide these little inconsistencies from us. For example, monotonic reads is what prevents that bizarre feeling when you refresh your feed and it seems to jump back in time. Another one, consistent prefix reads, makes sure you never see a reply to a comment before you've seen the original comment. They're all just designed to make the system feel logical and predictable, even when it's a bit chaotic behind the scenes. So let's bring this all together. Building an application for 75 million people means you have to be solving these incredibly complex problems at every single layer of the system. And this chart illustrates the whole idea perfectly. The visible system, the slick user interface, the smooth video streaming, that's the part we all see and interact with. But it's being held up by this massive invisible foundation of things like database replication and data consistency models. Without that rock-solid foundation, the visible part would just crumble under the load. So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that creating that simple, instant experience that we all expect from our apps requires an obsessive attention to detail at every single level. From the bits and bytes streaming to your phone for the video feed, all the way down to the replication strategy of the database's data feed, every little detail has to work in perfect harmony. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. As our digital and physical lives get more and more intertwined, and as we start building systems not just for millions, but for billions of users, what's the next great invisible problem that engineers are going to have to solve just to make everything feel simple?
If you want to stay ahead in your tech career, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Perfology on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Let's grow and optimize together.